We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Boom! Headshot!
Hey, it's Clay. How's everybody doing? I got another Planetside 2 video for you today, and this actually was a game that I just recently played on Indar, and man, I am just absolutely having a blast playing Planetside 2 since it has been released. I've been extremely impressed with it, and just like I said before, having a ton of fun. This game is awesome. I'm still playing on the Vanu Sovereignty primarily, you know, but yeah, it's good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really having a lot of fun playing with these guys. Actually, this actually is a... God, I don't even remember the name of the rifle, but I unlocked it with some of the station cash that I had received when I joined the Alpha Squad, and it's really a powerful rifle for the medic class. I'm using it a ton. I got a grip. I got the 2x holographic scope on here, and I'm really liking this setup. It's really versatile, good for long range, good for close range, good for everything. Definitely a good gun, but yeah, so, okay, here's what I want to talk about today. I've said it before, I've been really open about how much I am enjoying Planetside 2, and that definitely has not changed. I am really enjoying it. But there are a couple of negatives, some drawbacks, some things that I think are really hurting the game that are... You know, not necessarily, I don't want to say that it's kind of holding it back, but, you know, just things that I think that they could work on to even just take it to that next level. So I just want to talk about some of those things. So number one, I feel like, specifically because it's a free-to-play game, it's difficult for me to want to really invest money in it, because the way that they do these unlocks is you get locked in to a server. So if I use my station cash to buy this gun, which I did, and this was station cash that I got with the Alpha Squad bundle, but it was still cash. So this gun is going to be linked to this specific character on this specific server on this specific race. So I can never bring this gun, like if I want to open up a Vanu character on a different server, I can never take this gun and use it there. Or I cannot, if I decide to go Terran Republic, I can't ever get that money back. That gun is forever, that money is forever going to be spent on this gun. And there are times when that really bothers me, and it annoys me, and it kind of makes me not really want to spend money on the game. And I'm a little bit concerned about how that's going to work out in terms of the game's long-term financial success. And, you know, because, for example, I've had it a couple of times where, you know, this original character actually was created on the Matherson server, I believe, which is one of the first servers that was opened up, and I believe that this server runs at near max capacity almost all the time. Because, and the reason I think that is because a lot of times when I'm trying to log in and play, I've noticed, especially during, you know, sometime between, you know, peak hours, which would be anytime between about, you know, around 5 p.m. Eastern till about, you know, maybe 9 or 10 p.m. Pacific. So for a majority of the evening, I've noticed that the servers are actually, they're full, and there's a little bit of a queue time where I have to wait, and I can't get in right away, and that bothers me. That's really annoying, because I'm thinking, hey, I want to level up this character, I spent money on this guy, I want to get certifications, I want to get stuff for this new gun that I just bought with my own money, but I can't even get into the server that I want to play it on. You know, because I can't just say, okay, well, I'll just hop into a different server that's full and use the stuff that I already got. Well, I can't do that because it's specifically tied to the server, and the character, and the race. So it just is a little bit annoying to have to deal with that. And, you know, and I realize that the way that the game works, you know, it kind of has to be that way. I don't know how they could fix the cross-race thing. I mean, once you spend that money on Vanu, I don't know how you could, like, get it back and spend it on Terran or New Conglomerate. I just don't know how that would work. But I do wish that they would make it so that you could kind of hop between servers a little bit more freely, if that makes sense. Just because it has been annoying when I want to play on this account and I want to play on this guy, because this is my main guy. I don't really plan on hopping around a lot. I don't want to really plan on developing up a big Terran guy. You know, I've kind of picked Vanu. I like being on Vanu. I like the guns, and I like the race, and I'm going to stick with it. But it's really annoying when I can't play on this guy because the server is full, or I got a 5-minute queue time. You know, and I also realized that Sony doesn't want to eliminate, like, they don't want to make it so easy so that all the servers are just kind of like moderately populated. that you want servers to be at maximum or near as close to maximum capacity as you possibly can. So there are going to be some queue times associated with that. I understand that. Because, I mean, this game is about scale. This game is about, you know, epic, huge battles. I get that. And, yeah, but I don't know, it's a downer for me. It's a detract for me, you know, because I spend the time putting in on this game, and sometimes you just can't always get the benefits. So that's kind of my detract number one. I wish that they did a better way of managing that. My second thing is, and I'm having a little bit of a hard time explaining this in my mind, but it's something that I notice. Just it happens to me almost every time I'm playing a game. Just the pacing of Planetside 2 is such that I get tired of it to the point where I don't always play for as long as I wish, if that makes sense. So in order to help explain this, I'm going to contrast it with Battlefield 3, because that's the first-person shooter that I recently was really, really into for about the past year. So with Battlefield 3, you know, so let's say we're gonna play a game of Rush on Operation Metro. You know, the pacing of that game was so good that, you know, you could replay that for hours and hours and hours. And if you get tired of Metro, you just quit the server and you go to a different game. You go to a different game type, a different map. You know, they have like a game like Conquest on Strike at Karkand is a very intense, very objective game, whereas, you know, something like Rush on Operation Metro is a little bit more, you know, you just kind of shoot stuff and it's mindless. You play TDM. You could even play something like Gunmaster, which was very laid back. So you have a variety of game types, you have a variety of game modes, you have a variety of maps, you have a variety of different ways to enjoy Battlefield 3, and if you kind of get tired of something, you can go to something else, and that's really cool. But I feel like in Planetside 2, there isn't a lot of variety. And I know that with different maps, the playstyles are a little bit different, but just kind of this same, it's more or less the same when it comes down to its fundamental, you know, when you're playing the game fundamentally. It's more or less just about, you got these big battles, you really gotta, you know, think tactically and objectively about finding good Sunder locations and good spawn locations, and you gotta push with a team, and also because it's never ending, you never really have this sense of, like, you know, victory or defeat. You know, that's one of the nice things about having, you know, a game like Battlefield 3, where you have a rush match and you have a limited number of tickets, and you continually are trying to, you know, depending on the number of tickets, it changes your strategy. And, you know, the game has, you either win it or you lose it, and at the end you have conclusion and resolution, and you kind of deal with it. You know, you're either elated that you won, or you're bummed out that you defeat, and you're raging. You know, and you kind of have this sense of completion. I feel like in Planetside 2, like, you know, so this game, for example, we actually, the beginning of the match, I spend a lot of time defending a base, and then I kind of push up the hill, and then we get this Sunder on the backside, and we start to offensively take this base. So, you know, I was playing probably for a couple of hours, you know, between these two clips, you know, maybe an hour, I would say, and, you know, so overall, we defended one area, and we pushed up to another area. But, like, the game's not over. The game's not, I mean, in actually, to some extent, when I logged off, we were actually losing this area again. So, one thing that it's kind of like just the way that the game feels, is that it feels incomplete. You always feel like, well, okay, great, I just spent all this time, you know, using high tactics and strategy and teamwork trying to push up this hill, and we got this objective, but now, what? You know, you don't feel the same level of completion, of, you know, success or victory or defeat or whatever, as you do maybe with some other games. And, you know, that's just kind of the way that this game is. I realize that, and I realize that it's also a benefit. That's one of the unique and cool things about this game. But also, I feel like there are times where that kind of annoys me. It kind of bothers me. You know, it sometimes feels like you're, you know, what is that? There's like a Greek mythology thing where the guy is constantly pushing a rock up a hill. You know, you kind of feel like that guy. You're always pushing the rock up the hill, and you know it's always going to roll back down. You got to push it up again. So I don't, and that sometimes it just causes me to say, well, hey, I've been playing for a couple hours and I'm just kind of tired of doing this, and I'm going to go do something else. You know, whereas I feel like maybe with some other games, they have a variety of game modes or game types, which is really great because it allows you to feel a little bit more like, okay, well, I still want to play this game, but I just want to do something a little bit different. I feel like Planetside 2 is lacking in that. You know, maybe if they made a map that was like drastically different than the 3 that are out now, maybe one that was, you know, more of a TDM map. I don't know if they would ever do that. I don't know if that would even be a good thing. But just some way to provide a little bit more variety in the game type, I think would be beneficial. And yeah, so that's kind of a, I don't know if that really made sense, but I've noticed that I am feeling that more than I would like to. And you know, compared with other games, I just think it's maybe it makes Planetside 2 unique, but also maybe a detract in certain situations. I mentioned this before, that Planetside 2 has friendly fire, which actually kind of bothers me. And I would still say that's true. I don't know if it is as annoying as it was in beta, just because you kind of get used to it. But, it definitely... And also, although I will say that I know that they have updated or changed something with the way that the vehicles spawn. I have noticed that it is harder for me to get ran over by a friendly vehicle, which is good. I think that was a very, very important change that they made, and I really appreciate that. But there are still times when it's like, God, are you joking me? Like, I just got lit up from behind, and, you know, sometimes it's not even, like, something that you can do about it. Like, it just is almost inevitable, just because of the way that there's usually a ton of guys, like, bottlenecking a certain area. You know, like right now, if you look at how many guys are in that building, and then there's all these Terran Republic coming out of this other building that I was looking at, and it's just like, goodness gracious, I mean, yeah, it's just craziness. So, the friendly fire thing, I'm still not real pumped about it, just because it is so obnoxious when you get team killed. But at the same time, I think that they've done some things to address it. Maybe just a little bit more would be kind of nice. That would be cool. And then also, the game I've noticed is glitchy. I was playing on the server today, and there was some weird glitch in the server where any drop pod was never disappearing. So like if somebody drop podded instant action in, that drop pod would just stay there indefinitely. It would never ever go away. And that was kind of dumb and annoying, and I've noticed that things like that happen. And you know, and I realized that the game was just released, and especially with a game of this scale and magnitude, there are going to be glitches like that. And there really is not game breaking, but I definitely really will hope that that Sony continues to patch these types of things and fix these types of glitches, because you know, things like that can be a really big deal. They can really end up becoming a really big part of a game. So I just am really hopeful that they continue to patch and fix some of these glitches. But you know, so that's my list. That's my list of where I stand right now of things about Planetside 2 that I'm not wild or crazy about. But I'm gonna just sum it all up and say that, you know what though, I still love this game. It is a huge breath of fresh air for somebody who's been playing first-person shooters for a long time. Played Counter-Strike, played almost every Call of Duty, played a bunch of Halo. Sure, there's other stuff I'm forgetting about, but it's really nice to just see something new and different. So that's my time. I think I've just reached the end of the video, so I'm going to cut it off here. I'd love to hear from you guys if you're playing Planetside 2, what your thoughts are on the game, what you think they can do to improve it. And any feedback about these commentaries would be much appreciated. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you soon.